All right. GenX. Are we adults yet? Are you satisfied with the past 50 years? A raw and honest look back at the wins, the wounds, and what still needs healing. But it's going to be fun and upbeat, I promise. Because why?
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Greg.
We are GenX.
And welcome to our podcast. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. Shout out to our listeners, our subscribers, our viewers, and everyone that partakes in the content that we create. Thank you guys for that. Shout out to our Monday crew, our guys or our gals, our faithfuls that tune in every Monday on their way to work, while they're getting ready or whatever. On some of them on their way home. Shout out.
Always with us.
Always with us, catching the freshest, newest, crispiest episodes that we have to offer. Love you guys, and we are international on our audio-only podcast hosted on Podbean. Links are in the description. We are absolutely international, showing up in well over 20 countries. I have data. I have receipts for everything I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not experts, but we have receipts for that.
We're not experts. So shout out to Canada, shout out to Ukraine, shout out to the Netherlands, shout out to Mexico, shout out to Japan. Hey, those guys are coming in hot right now. Lots of activity coming out of those countries. So thank you guys. I know you hear this, so thank you guys. Greg.
What's up?
Tell us something fucking amazing.
Oh, you know what? And maybe I have something that fits in with the theme of the episode today.
What's that?
On this phase of life, like probably people our age are starting to get to this thing where your parents are starting to get sick, so you have to take care of them.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of one of those things. We're taking care of my wife's sick mom.
That's right.
In the house with cancer.
She's in the house with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Staying there.
For some reason, I thought you were traveling to somewhere.
She's had to spend some time in the hospital, so we've been in and out of there, but she's been home for a couple weeks.
Got it. Okay.
And doing good. So news is good.
That is.
She's got advanced stage diseases, but we've got a good plan, and we're taking good care of her. She's been feeling good and getting better every day. And
okay. So there's progress on the horizon.
Yeah, progress, and like it's shrinkage of tumors, and we've got all good positive signs. Like numbers are all going in the right direction, and her strength is coming back, and we're setting her up for like the next round of battling this. So
very good.
It's basically just stage one of some stages, but she's recovering from stage one pretty good and ready to take this on. So, but I think a lot of people our age are starting to go through that time where I guess maybe because she was pretty young when she had my wife. She was like 16 or 17. So if you had older parents, you've probably already been through
you're either there, have been there probably, right?
But for those of us that had younger parents, we're starting to go through the phases where we're taking care of those
starting
guys,
to take care,
starting to have funerals and stuff for them. Because my dad's kind of starting to fall apart too.
Yeah,
starting to lose his thinking and taking care of himself and stuff like that. So yeah, we're getting to that age, man.
Just want to give him a big old hug.
Right?
Not that would be.
You can. Yeah.
I would love to punch him in his arm.
That wouldn't have been acceptable. Yeah, he was not a hugger.
I give him a fucking headlock.
We force it on him now. You just walk up and hug him. He can't stop you.
That's funny. Like you said that last time. He can't stop us now.
Can't stop us now. We just hug him.
We have this cool little picture that's up behind us. Age and life satisfaction. I found this from Kaiser Permanente. So whatever credit you want to give those guys. And it was in Washington, and it was in 2016. So it was a single source, a single shot, a single thing. But I did some other research, and I did realize, and I did find that this is kind of a common, at least a kind of agreed upon idea for folks, in our generation or just kind of folks in general, I think it is. And it says that that age 50 is around the lowest dip of unhappiness. Now, look, according to this, right, as we're real young, we start off kind of happy or whatever, and then kind of seems to dip a little bit. Then it rises. They call it into the golden years, right? So for whatever reason, they believe this is true, or whatever poll they conducted or survey they
it's
offered.
Probably close enough.
And however many,
this
like
could 80-20.
This could have been like 40 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But there was other headlines and other 1 and 2 paragraphs deep, I'm being honest, that kind of suggested the same thing, or at least other researchers seem to have similar data.
Yeah,
for
like
this,
55
right?
plus is where, if like 55, I think 50 plus. So yeah, they're basically saying that late 40, early 50 in that range
seems to level off.
Where it starts to be the hardest. Is that why? Why would people report the worst life satisfaction? Is that what they're calling it? What's the name of it?
What do you mean?
Life satisfaction. Are you satisfied with your life? And guys that age answered no the most.
Right there. If you look right at
And
40,
we're right in the middle of that right now.
it seems to level off. That's the bottom of the dip where it kind of does this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
38 is when we stop giving a fuck what other people think. Remember that?
And
Remember?
you just go through a little anger phase. That's what I did. That little dip there from like
40 to 50.
all the way there. But I think I'm coming back up a little sooner.
That's our midlife crisis right there.
Yeah, seriously.
It's 100%.
38.
It's our tattoo, Corvette, and side chick. I'm kidding.
Why not?
I'm kidding.
It is. I did get a motorcycle.
Well, somebody's going to say, well, you said that
I
you're
was
fast and
younger
too
than
quick.
that. I did it when I was 30.
I got
though.
the tattoos. I got new tattoos.
I didn't do it. I did one more tattoo, but I didn't go crazy with tattoos.
Right. So let me ask you, listeners, viewers, audio or wherever you're catching our content. Let me ask you, are you satisfied with your last 50 years?
Are you satisfied?
I mean, like overall, like would you give
Life
yourself a thumbs
satisfaction.
up?
That's what it's called. It's called life satisfaction.
Would you give yourself a middle thumb, kind of shaky? Would you give it kind of up shaky? Would you be like, nah, man, I mean, I kind of tanked. I need to do some shit over again, right? Or would you feel like, of course everyone has moments, right? I get that. But I'm talking like overall, are you satisfied? Have you done your part as a responsible human being for whatever that looks like for you in your life? What do you say?
Like, would you be okay with it if they just said, "Hey, you're cashing in tonight. This is it"? Would you be like, "I'm good"?
Be like,
"I'm good." I'd hang out with a guy. He's 81. He'll turn 81 this year. He's good. He's ready to go anytime. He's ready to go.
He's probably ready.
He says it a lot.
Still here.
No, not a lot. Yeah, kind of. He's one of those self-deprecating humor type of guys. So it's part of his shtick that he does a lot.
Right.
But yeah, he's good. He's like, Lord, take me now. He's one of those guys. 81. He's had it. Especially the way things are now, Greg.
The way things are now, Greg.
Oh, yeah. I love that guy.
That's hella funny.
It's cool to be around somebody with that perspective. That's just like, he's free of everything.
I mean, right?
He's just riding it out. Still drives Uber, goes out to the Bay Area and drives people around in his car.
Is serious?
Yeah, and he's a good enough driver that
he still drives.
He's got like a 4.9, 5-star reviews, something like that. Thousands of rides. He's made a lot of money with it.
It's time for him. Just passing time.
Yeah, he just goes out there, sleeps in his car, spends a few days. He's hard. Yeah, he's hardcore too. He's also kind of a badass for 81. He's also not your average 81-year-old guy. He's kind of fucking jacked, and he'd probably beat your ass.
So he's seen a war at least.
He was a wrestler.
Vietnam War?
He was in Turkey during something. He got stationed in Turkey.
If anybody knows what happened in Turkey back in the 60s or whatever, I don't know. Whenever he was military age. So the wins. Let me ask you, are you satisfied with your last 50 years? If you said yes, I applaud you. If you said meh, that means you have maybe equal kind of, shitty times and equal kind of good times or whatever. And
hopefully you can at least say that.
And if you think your last 50 years have just been a tank or whatever, then that sucks, man. I'm really sorry. I think I am somewhere I would not give myself a thumbs up. Absolutely not. Again, this is overall. Am I satisfied because I've done a lot of this? The scales have been this way for a long time, and now I've put, balance some shit. So overall, halfway through-ish. Now, I don't mean like in time or in life, but, they'll put it this way. The more time I get, the more this comes up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, right?
That's what that seems like.
I might, and hopefully I broke even. I feel I may have broke even. And I know it's not point system, and I know I know it doesn't work that way.
It's not
but for the visual, I think I would say I'm somewhere teetering right at zero.
Yeah, it's like a self-motivation thing. That's just like I'm just keeping my own score.
How many points do I get for calling that guy and telling him I'm sorry? Yeah. How many points do I get for, how many points do I get for this banana or this whole wheat grape? No, right? So no, it doesn't work that way. I get it, but mostly satisfied with a ton of years. With years, I would change. not just moments. There's a few years I would change, right? But we talked about, let's a raw and honest look back, the wins, the wounds, and what still needs healing. Let's talk about some of the wins. Let's start on a good positive note, right? My wins, I have a career and a side job that can finance my life. I can pay for myself. Sometimes well, sometimes not. It depends, right?
Right.
Those careers, both jobs are a result of my active addiction, which turned out to be kind of a blessing in disguise. I work in adult mental health, and I'm also a mobile DJ for the past 18 years. So how does DJ and addiction have to do with it?
But that happens a lot, right? People that go through the system end up working in the system. You work with a lot of guys that go through.
I'm back
the system like that, right?
Yeah.
So
at one point,
between a giving back thing and probably being the best person for the job. I mean,
so that's where I'm qualified, right?
Who else do you want in charge?
I mean,
some guy that went to school about it.
So I went to school too. I got both.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Some guy that just went to school and has got book education. And
so I have an opinion on that, and it's changed over time. I want my drug and alcohol help from another drug or another addict or another tweaker.
I think it has to be.
I want my mental health, my professional clinical help from someone who hasn't done that shit. I don't want my therapist or my clinician to have lived experience either. I want my sponsor,
right,
to have lived experience,
pharmacist,
or
there's a few guys
that should know. That should be in the know. My pharmacist should be in the know. Not that he should know, but
we got that no felony policy on some of these guys,
right? So, and that's fair, but it doesn't mean if I've never struggled with addiction, I can't be helpful to you, right? Because I'm not here to fix anything. It depends on my role, right? So. Yep. Anywho, right? But DJing was the first job I got fresh out of rehab, like in the first 30 days. Craigslist ad, emailed it back. I got a job interview, dressed up in what little suit I had. I just got out of rehab, like maybe a week or two out of rehab. I got this interview, right? I go and I am doing this interview, and my people know that I've, been into music, so I can name stuff, right? It's not that that's all a DJ does, but I felt confident or prepared, right? Because I knew music really well. I knew a lot of genres pretty well, and my dad DJ'd back, way back in the day.
What year is this? What kind of music would you?
This is 2006.
2006. So it's the top 40 song in 2006.
So this is like, I think, you like have to be 1-2 step and shit like that. And this is all that hip hop early 2000s. But then the 90s were still hot, and the 80s were still hot. The 80s were the throwbacks, and the 90s were, kind of just still kind of hot, right? So
there was a lot of 90s dance floor shit too.
There's a lot of 90s dance floor shit. So I hit this job interview, and I'm all high on recovery. I'm all, just like feeling good about myself. And I tell my buddy, right? It turns out to be my buddy now, but I tell him, I'm fresh out of rehab. I was a tweaker for fucking ever, but I was 30 days clean, 38 days clean, whatever number I was at, right? And it wasn't that many. It was
told him your life story.
Ish, right? And then I'm like, all right, so yeah, give me a call. And he's like, yeah, sure, man, have a good day, right? And after I left, I found this out a couple years later. He did hire me, but I found out that day he took my application and went bunk and threw that shit in the garbage. And his wife was like, don't do that. That's not, he was so nice. He was so honest. You hire him. And she made him hire me, right? Took it out and he's all, oh my God, really? I don't want to. He's like, because he thought I was going to steal his shit. You know what I mean? He'd been stolen from before. And I get it. It's equipment. He's got a loan out and he's got to trust. He's going to send me, you know what I mean? I get it. But
it's a lot of stuff.
He trusted me. I worked for that guy for 18 freaking years, man. Turned out to be a really good friend of mine.
Good call.
So good job, boss lady. Thank you for that. And, home chicken, you ugly. I love you, bro. So that's how DJing relates to addiction, because that's the first job I got fresh out of rehab. But here's the thing, right? That job taught me how to be like a person, different than the guy who hung out in garages. Taught me a new language, a new vocabulary, a new way to look at things, a new way to help people.
To be a party guy.
Well, to be a party guy, but the guy I worked for also owned the company, and he sold a lot of weddings. He was also the voice and the salesman. Not like salesman, but a likable guy. If you like somebody, you'll hire him. But you know what I mean. But he was that guy.
And then he sends someone out. You can't be some stick in the mud DJ.
So a huge blessing for me, he took me under his wing, and I got to go everywhere with him and meet all these people and do all the selling. And, I got really integrated into the whole company about this. It was a real small company, but I got, for 18 years, bro, You know, and it wasn't just, here's a schedule and here's, go out and, I was integrated with this guy, right? So I learned how to be a man again, different than the garage dweller.
Yeah.
Right. Learn how to dress again, or differently. Right. I had a good role. He was a good role model is what I'm getting at. Right. So all these things. Right. So that is a definite win. Right. And then now the career I have, like you said, giving back, that's an absolute win. I'm working on the mental health side. There's a division between the drug and alcohol and mental health, blah, blah, blah. Not that we're not friends, but they're just billing and all that, blah, blah, blah. There's just two worlds. Anywho, I work on the mental health side and I love it. Those are my people. That's where I should be. Right.
Makes sense.
So that win came from a severe loss. I'll talk about that down there. And one of the losses is my active addiction. Right. So I didn't get clean until I was 34. You know what I mean? And
lost time.
So I kind of pictured it as I lost about 14 years. When I got out of rehab with nothing but a backpack, it was kind of like my other friends at 20. Kind of left home and moved out into an apartment, or someone, somewhere already in the military or some, you know what I mean? At 20, I figured it was like the start time. Right.
Yeah.
And, my other friends, I always reference the same two friends, but they already bought houses and shit by the time they were 34. You know what I mean? They already had
doing grown-up
career.
thing.
Dude,
Shit,
they've been fucking adults, dude. You know what I mean? So shout out Gene, shout out Mike, shout out you guys, blah, blah, blah. So anywho, yes. So my second win is working in an adult mental health. I'm giving back to a community that gave me my life back, in the same town. I actually got to work in the same rehab I went to for a while. So that was kind of neat. I got to check that off the list, right? Some of the employees were still there. You worked
in one of the like overnight places where you guys come and stay and stuff?
Emergency shelter, yeah.
Yeah, like a shelter?
A short-term shelter, yeah. Like a 7-day kind of deal. Get them connected.
I visited my uncle at one of those one time. It's as close as I've ever been to one of those type of places.
Yeah.
My mic.
It was a hair.
Is that what it is?
It was a hair, yeah.
Got it?
Actually, it's right there, so you can grab it.
Didn't get it.
There you go.
It's freaking me out. Right in my mouth.
No hair.
Yeah, it's as close as I've ever been to one of those places. It's the visit my uncle. We hung out in the backyard and just smoked cigarettes and told stories all night.
That's kind of neat.
Him and a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Where was it at?
Down in L.A., East L.A. somewhere. I couldn't even tell you what city I was in.
West Covina.
Yeah, I mean, that's somewhere. That's where I was born. I don't know. Where were you born, son? Yeah. So that would be crazy, running in a place like that. I remember the in charge guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He seemed like an in charge guy.
I love those places.
Yeah.
It's a trip because my experience, I've seen fights, I've seen, like assaults, I've seen people refusing to leave. I've had to have the police come and remove people. We found people who have passed away. We found people who overdosed. Was it
just a house in a neighborhood, or was it a building?
It was two houses.
It was just
two
a house?
residential houses.
Yeah. It was just in a neighborhood.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, experience a lot of things. You see a lot of things, but for the most part, people are pretty good. For the most part, even when you're dealing with like street level, unmedicated, untreated mental health, right? Yeah. Most people are still.
So you got a whole variety of people from all walks of life in one place too.
100%, dude.
That's always a. That
was a bunch of
challenge.
Fuel waiting for a spark.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So my third win is my family, my kids, my wife, my parents, my brothers, my cousins, my family, my people, my circle, my tribe. Right. I wouldn't trade any of them. I put a smiley face. I wouldn't trade any of them. I wouldn't. I'd keep them all. Right. I grew up in a real life family.
Yeah. You had a big, busy, loud house.
It was like Roseanne.
But it was other people there too.
It was like the unfiltered version of Roseanne.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Bundy house, and it wasn't the Cosby house, and it wasn't the Growing Pains or Family Ties. You know what I mean? It wasn't those homes. It was most like Roseanne, but like a little more real life.
Yeah. A little more real life.
A little more real life, right?
Yeah. We weren't censored for TV.
I wouldn't trade any of my family. I wouldn't. We didn't have the 2-story house with the picket fence. My parents fought. They partied. We almost always had someone living with us.
You had the vacuum built into the house, though.
My dad fucking took that vacuum with him when we moved.
That was so awesome. I never saw a house that had the vacuum just built into the walls like that.
This comes with central vacuum. It was
amazing.
It's set up for.
Like what?
It's central vacuum capable.
It has what? Yeah, dude.
Eligible.
Yeah, there's a can shows in the garage. dude, I want to see that. I want to see that right now. Looks like a fucking rocket ship in your garage. That's
yeah, a big old blue canister and shit.
Dude,
Yeah,
like a rocket ship or something.
It had the little. It looked like the same size as an outlet, but it had the round circle little.
But it had the big
Flat.
blower for the thing on it too, right?
In the garage, yeah, that was the vacuum itself. Yeah,
Yeah, sick, bro.
we could just
So awesome.
plug the hose into the wall.
Anywhere in the whole house.
Yeah, there was like
It's
two.
the best thing ever.
There was two in the whole
house of the future.
It was pretty neat. It was cool. My dad still has that vacuum.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's attached to.
Taking it with me.
He fucking took it with him, dude. It's on a hand truck right now. The bungee cord around it.
We can make that into something.
Fucking dad. Oh, all right. Where were we here? We almost always had someone living with us, but this prepared me for a real life experience. You know, my brothers are younger than me, and they got the same experience I did mostly. I got a little bit more out of my parents as far as like livelihood and stuff, and they got kind of more of a chilled out version of the parents. You know what I mean? They did the little.
Plus, your parents were outnumbered, and they were
brothers.
bigger than them by then.
Yeah. So, family was fine. Kids. My kids, my families. And all of that. I consider that a win. Surrounded by some pretty good people, especially my cousins. You know what I mean? Of course, my parents, but my cousins are pretty solid fucking people. So shout out to all my cousins, especially the ones that are living up on the hill up there. So what are your wins? Leave us a comment. Hit me up. Let me know. What are some of your wins? I picked out 3, right? I know Greg's got a ton of wins. I picked out a few. Let us know what they are. And if you haven't already, I don't think we said it earlier, but hit the subscribe button and find us on all of our social medias. We're on all of the big ones. Exclusive content over on the Talks. I don't know if YouTube listens for the names of other platforms and like screens out or doesn't put us in the algorithm
Yeah, I don't know
river.
how that works.
So
It's magic. It's all magic as far as I'm concerned.
it's on the Talks. Find us on the Talks. What are your wins? Greg, tell us a win.
I get to work for myself. I live in a nice house. I mean, my whole life, I consider the whole thing a win right now. I have a very luxurious life. I eat a lot of meat and honey, milk and honey. I live in the land of milk and honey is how I feel like right now. Honestly, I have a very luxurious life. So I really try not to complain about life in general, but I definitely was on that downturn. I think I was a little bit earlier. Like maybe started a little bit earlier 30s than 38. Started being an angry dick, can't catch a break guy for a long time.
Yeah.
So I had a bad perspective on the world, but it's not so bad anymore. So I also think I had a steeper curve, and I'm on the upswing a little bit ahead of time.
Pull up on that stick a little bit.
Yeah. Feels like things are good now, and my whole life is a win. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good family. Good place to live.
Got things kind of dialed in, kind of where you want them.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, could be making more money, doing more, but.
And I'm glad you said that, because you said your life is luxurious, but you also said I could make a little bit more money. So money has nothing to do with your luxury.
No, it's like quality of life, but I still, like I said, I eat meat. I got honey on the shelf. I got gallons of milk in the fridge. I get to make luxurious coffees and stuff.
Luxuries.
I feel like I have a pretty luxurious life. So I try to enjoy it because it all could change. Watching how fast my wife's mom got sick. She was just here for Christmas and she was fine.
Right. 3
months later, she shows up on a doorstep at death's door.
Not fine.
So everything can turn around really quick. So having a good perspective on life, I think, has been more helpful than anything else.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats. A lot of hard work, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, so we talked about the wins. Let's throw some wounds out there. I'll throw some out there. I share this all the time, but you know what? Like it or not, whether I like it or not, whatever work I've done or whatever work I will do or wherever I'm at in life, like it or not, I'm still an addict. Whether I'm using or not using the drug of choice or not using the drug of choice, or whether it doesn't matter. I know better. I know when I'm still an addict, right?
Do you have new addict things? Do you have new legal addict things that you have to fight with?
I don't really. No? I need to be mindful of my thoughts and behaviors, though, because some of that addict behavior is impulse.
Yeah.
Some of that addict behavior, I think, for me, right, because is like holding grudges forever. I get to hold on to something, and that something gives me it's not a high, but it kind of boils down to give my brain something to fucking do.
Yeah.
While I can focus over here or whatever the case is.
You
whatever.
Take that big heavy weight and throw it on your back and carry it around everywhere you go.
Carry it everywhere. And just shove that shit wood. I'm okay with this, but I'm not satisfied, right? And here's the thing. I'm okay with this because I have been able to make a lot of positives out of it. I've helped a lot of people, right? And first and foremost, I've been able to give back, like legit. I've been able to do that. And this lifestyle and this gratitude and this humility and, just this kind of overall servitude kind of attitude, right? My needs are met. And like my life is dialed in kind of how I want it. It's not exactly, we're going to talk about exactly where it's not dialed in, you know what I mean? And being an being an addict, active or an inactive, is one of the things that's still on my plate. I still got to be mindful of. I can't just forget and go out and start drinking and stuff, run into the wrong guy. And maybe my next run won't be on, meth like it was last time. What if it's a pill this time, because I'm still afraid of all that stuff. I'm still afraid of alcohol. I'm still afraid of pills, all of them.
Yeah.
I will take an IBU when I have to. And then I'm mindful to...
Shackley did that to us.
I'm mindful. How many milligrams is this? Because I only want to take 600 at a time. You know what I mean? Just 3 of those little guys, and that's it. I'll just, you know what I mean? So I'm not... I'm afraid of that stuff, right? So first and foremost, I'm still that, right? And I'm not like dissatisfied. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm kind of proud, right? Yeah. I surviving, right? But I actually wrote this sentence, and it kind of hit me when I wrote it. I wouldn't choose it for my next life. I would try something different.
Yeah. Hopefully. That's wisdom, right? Don't make the same decision. Well, expect a different outcome.
So part of me feels like that, maybe it's not destiny, or maybe I was determined. I had no escape from this outcome. But part of me feels like either I landed here for a reason, or I made the best of what I went through, and I'm returning. You know what I mean? Those
are the things you were supposed to learn, bro. Yeah.
So, okay, check.
You had to.
Okay, next one.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an addict, bro. The next one. You know what I mean? Let me just kind of, I don't know who I'd want to be like, but, let me try something different. I did this one. Let me try something different. I don't mean rock star or someone of fame. I don't mean something gratuitous or, something self-serving like that. But
is there anything besides time that you can put between you and being an addict? There's really, tools, having quality tools to manage the situations you find yourself in, I guess.
Yeah. There was a lot of behaviors that I think are related to the addiction that were present in me before I picked up and started using drugs. Impulse behavior, a lot of, some of these fears, like fear of not having enough.
Yeah.
Right. I've never gone hungry. I've never had food insecurity at any point in time in my life.
Right.
But I've always worried about not having enough. It's like one is good, 3 is better, right? Or ordering food as a little kid. I have to order off the adult menu. It wasn't because I thought I was an adult. It was just because, man, I want to make sure I ordered enough food.
Yeah. Which one is?
I've never fucking been hungry.
Which meal has the most calories? Which one do I get the most food?
But I never eat all my food.
I still catch myself doing that.
Right. Which one's got the most in it?
I'll order the double burger.
Right. So like, we were talking about a few minutes ago, I didn't get clean until I was 34. So from the time I was born till 34, the first third of my life, hopefully, that'd be a good third.
Right.
That'd be a good third. You get to learn
some stuff?
Fuck, dude, really?
Those were the years where you got to learn all of your tools for dealing with the next, how many years?
I know everyone struggle, or everyone's got something behind their closed door. I get that, right? I get that. But at 34, you're a third of my life, bro, that I had to go through active.
Right.
and then the next 10 or 15 recognizing and unfucking a lot of the behavior glitches and a lot of the damage that I'm going to talk about right here in a second. The next one,
I'm watching my kid go through learning how to be a social human again.
Yeah.
Not through a pair of headphones and a microphone playing a video game. Like, he was great at being social on that. You'd listen to him in his room talking all night long, but go out and talk to real people in real life. Go order food.
Go talk to somebody.
And just don't be a fucking weirdo about it. Like, comment on the watch that they're wearing and make conversation with people and ask them about their day and
talk to people in life.
Yeah, I'm trying to push them to do stuff like that. So I watched that reintegration into society kind of happening right now in front of me with my kid that has come out of the basement. He's not lost 14 years. I mean, he's been kind of that kid since he was in high school, so it's kind of close to that, 14 years.
Right.
So a little bit of like little social reminders like, hey, man, hair's looking a little shabby, time to get a haircut. Stuff like that he never really had to pay attention to his whole life.
Has he had girlfriends?
Teach him, I mean, not quality ones.
Because that'll straighten up a lot of things pretty quickly.
That's what he's. I mean, that's kind of like what we're working towards.
Off the list real quick.
Social being, so that you can get yourself a quality girl.
Yeah, true.
You're only going to be able to get a girl that's in your same market value as far as that's concerned. So,
or you will only hunt in your market value.
Yeah, you know,
or whatever
you're
you
just going
think
to end up with something that drags you down instead of builds you up.
That's horrible.
So,
right.
Anyways, yeah, dude, I know how hard that can be. I wasn't there for that when you went through it.
I wouldn't choose the addict thing again. About 34. Yeah. 14 years behind. Yeah. I started over at 0 at 34.
Yeah.
I'm proud of, you know what I mean? I get it. I'm not knocking. I'm just.
Yeah. Because you took damage, you have negative skills now.
I did. I had. Yeah. And the next one says.
Now you have to unbreak some weird social habits.
So getting clean wasn't the fix of all my problems. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was raised to yell the important stuff.
Yeah.
My parents modeled that for me, and I believe that was just the way. That's just the way it was. Everything was loud. Everything demanded now. Not a lick of relationship, no teaching, no nurturing over anything, nothing close to bonding. Like, right? I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Where I would like respect and follow the direction laid out for me. Right? Nope. I yelled my way through my first 3 kids. My parents have their own issues. That's their story. But it was like very much like how I said it was, you have to do your homework. It's important because if you don't do your homework, you won't do well on the test. Then you'll fail the class. And we want you to learn and be productive in life. Why can't you do your homework? As opposed to like, hey, buddy, let's have a seat. Hey, homework's really important, man.
Right.
It is really important. I know it feels stupid, but it's really important because it really shows if you can do the work, and practicing the work is kind of what we're doing here. And they have to take a test, and I get it. But you know what? I also understand how important it is. How can I help? What's in the way? Good fucking Lord. If I'd have said that at any point in time during my first 3 kids' life, right, I'd have a different relationship with them today.
Or if someone said that to you when you were young.
Thank you. Not blaming anybody, but I followed my parents' modeling.
But there was a whole system around us though that was kind of like that. Everybody was drunk and shit back then or something.
A lot of beer drinkers. That's why everybody died in their 50s and 60s. Like, they've been drinking beer for 40 fucking years already.
Go outside and play. Who knows what the fuck they were doing in the house? So we weren't allowed in. You know what I mean? Don't come back until the street lights come on.
There, right? Right. So the yelling thing. All the important shit was said at the top of my lungs. I remember one time yelling so much that I had to stop and take a break. I was out of breath and I had to like take a break and then go back to loud voice. And part of me was like,
smoking cigarettes on.
Why the fuck does this need to be said so loud? And I realized I wasn't being heard. It wasn't changing behavior. It was pushing them farther away from me, building resentments, decreasing respect, blah, blah, all those fucking things until at some point I realized, holy fuck, I can't do this. This isn't okay. And it's not that I'm not being heard. It's just like I'm spinning my fucking wheels over here. And I truly want.
They're tuning out as soon as you stop or as soon as you
start
yelling.
Bro, who the fuck's not going to tune you out if you're just fucking yelling at people?
Right. If everything's yelled important, then suddenly nothing's important.
And SWAT team, command, control, think, do, now, go, fix, run.
Right.
How does that build a relation? How does that build respect to where you want to come to me?
The system.
Does that make you want to seek my advice for my companionship to do things with me? Does that make you open to like what I have to say to like build a father-son bond? No, fuck no. It builds a big fucking wall and fuck yous. And that's what I'm unfucking, right? So first I had to recognize that the yelly guy wasn't the fucking business. Learned what it was about the yelly guy, why the yelly guy was here, and what it was that, you know, I was trying to accomplish and what was in my fucking way. What I learned was I've never really had a meaningful conversation modeled for me. I didn't speak that language. I didn't know that language existed, and I certainly didn't know to use that tool in those moments because I didn't know it fucking existed at all.
No.
It's like, oh, when you go to that restaurant, you have to order in Japanese, bro. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, oh, I've been over there in English the whole time and not getting fucking shit. Yeah. And I'm pissed and I'm yelling at people. I'm like, I'm not. Oh, that time, if you want your kid to listen to you and respect you and follow you, might have to fucking come to there where they are and speak to them and show them a little bit of respect and courtesy and dignity and honor and all that neat stuff and nurture and grow and build a relationship. And they'll want to follow you. And then there's nothing they won't do for you. Oh my God. It's not like manipulation, but it's like called a relationship.
Yeah, imagine that.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I think it just skipped generations. Dude, it skipped a bunch of generations before us. No one did that for our parents either.
Correct.
It skipped some generations in this culture.
That did not happen for my dad's, and that did not happen for my mom. Yeah, you're correct.
Neither one. Not mine either. They just didn't live in that type of household.
And that bullshit made it all the way down
parents.
to 3 of my 4 kids.
Yeah.
It stopped there. There's this picture, I'm going to put it up right here, that shows the old guy, the old grandpa yelling at the son yelling at the younger son shielding the little toddler infant from all the negativity and just going and speaking like positive flower butterfly shit. Not butterfly pod, but speaking love and speaking respect. And this shows the old bigot grandpa, you know, speaking hate.
Kind of how it
Not
is.
hate, but just negative, right? And
undoing it with adult children right now.
I've been all of those guys on that fucking picture, bro.
I've already had to apologize for being a fucking dick to my kids when they were little, dude. I did the same thing and grew up in the house and then joined the Marines.
And then learn new ways.
Yeah, I learned new ways to fuck with people. So, yeah, bro.
Take this thing, shut it right off.
Yeah, you didn't clean your room this morning?
You were wrong.
I will flip the entire room upside down. So when you come home from school, that's what you get to do for the rest of the night. I would just destroy shit like a drill instructor.
That would hurt my feelings, bro.
Yeah, I threw their shit all over the room. Every drawer, every piece of clothing had to be refolded and put back where it was. Yeah,
I hear it.
Everything.
They didn't come running to hang out with old Pop, did they?
No, not really.
I get it.
Not as much. I mean, I feel like we were kind of close, but we not as much. Not the way I know it could be. And because I still think I was better than my parents, I realized kind of not to. I don't know. I feel like there was some kind of line because like my parents did that, and we never had any fun. So I at least tried to do some fun shit with my kids, so that when I was fun dad, there was at least a fun dad because my dad wasn't really fun dad either.
Right.
So I at least try to give them some of that. And
try to make something from nothing.
Be a fucking doom and gloom dad all the time.
Recognize the void or recognize this isn't what I want.
Even though I still know I rubbed some of that shit off on them.
Same.
Yep.
So I also apologized. I wrote letters.
Yeah.
I did. I wrote them letters. That way they could read it when they needed and I could say it how I needed and they could take time and you know what I mean? Feelings wouldn't get all in the way and you know what I mean? All that stuff. And they could just be like a moment for in private. Right. So I did that. Received, heard, progress. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just about the letter. I had to show them different guy. I had to show them that we can have a tough conversation if we have to. Yeah. And here's how I'm going to be.
At least with my son, I've had this conversation with like, I'm sorry, bro. Like I was not given the fucking right tools going into the situation. Like I thought I was right 100%.
Same.
Like I 100% thought I was on top of everything.
Yeah. I thought
but
that
I can
was
look back at that and go, like, guy was a dumbass. I think that's something about our life, though. We always I could look back at 2 years ago and that guy was a dumbass.
This is different, though.
But there's something about...
This was fundamental changes. We changed our foundation on this one.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. We knew that it wasn't serving us. We weren't sure. We had to find a new one on our own. We had to recognize and unfuck that glitch.
Yeah, right. It was a glitch.
Like 100%.
That's all it was.
100%. It was a huge fucking glitch.
That's why it works so well.
So I have damaged some important relationships in my life, and I'm actively working to repair those. At 53 years old, I'm not cruising yet.
No, but that's good.
I'm still undoing damage that I've done in the first half, in the first 2 lifetimes. I feel like I'm on a 3rd lifetime in a good way. You know what I mean?
Some people are not even recognizing yet.
So, my older kids experience my active addiction and the yelly guy. I've made amends to them, and I show them a much better version of myself today. They get to see that, right?
You call him the yelly guy?
You'll be the yelling guy. Yeah, because I wasn't necessarily angry with my feelings. It was more like if I was scared that you went and jumped off bridges, I'd be like, fuck, dude, I'm so fucking scared. I love you, and I don't want you to get fucking hurt. It's like, fuck, dude, I fucking love you, bro. I don't want you to be hurt. Oh, no, it was, So it was never angry guy, right? And just like you said, I thought that was the way, and I didn't recognize that was a problem because that's how I was treated.
Yeah,
and I love my mom.
This is the best way.
This is how she took care of me. This is how she, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't resent her, but I resent that now. Resent is not the word. I recognize that's not working for me.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to learn a new fucking tool. Right. So the yelly guy. And I'm not trying to minimize it or trying to shave off any kind of weight from it, but
put a title on it.
But I was the yelly guy. Everything had to be fucking yelled, right? Anywho, right. I made my amends. I showed them that, I've been giving them. I didn't just apologize and go, okay, now give me my respect and just forget it. Now it was more like, I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep doing this and that. And they've watched me, not be yelly guy to like Tammy and to like the other kids and to like, to everybody. They've seen like a overall kind of just a.
Yeah, that's my kids say now. That I've softened up.
Like I just sat the fuck down and chilled out for a minute. You know what I mean? So I have hella cringy memories of shit I did growing up. Mostly how I treated other people. And that doesn't sit well with me. I remember new ones kind of here and there. Or like the person I told you guys about, Kim, who just hit me up randomly after I posted some picture I really liked. I really loved the picture. It was of 91's graduation. Mm-hmm. That picture. I love that picture. And I posted that and I was all blah, blah, blah. And I got a private message. I hope you grew up to be a better human than the one who bullied me in school.
That happened recently?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right at the end of 24, maybe in the summer of 24. Within the last 12 months.
Dang.
Yeah, bro. I'm still. Right? And that hit me. And it wasn't like hit me like, oh, it was like, I forgot about that one. I've been reaching out to people.
There was something about like there was I guess maybe it's still like that. It's just fucking kids, right? Like trying to get a rise out of people and stuff. Just razzing at someone, picking someone, and then
not knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
And constantly doing it. And once I know I hurt your feelings, I keep doing it. And you're a girl and I'm picking on a girl. Really? Are you fucking serious, bro? Come on. Schmuck. Fuck. Yeah. I'm not proud of it, dude. I'm not bragging. I'm not laughing at that. I'm just like,
no, it is. I did some dumb shit.
It would eat at me, dude. And so I started doing something about it. I started sending messages, started sending texts, not trying to be all intrusive, not explaining anything. You understand, right? You understand, right? Yeah. It was because it wasn't my fault. It was because, it's like, hey man, like I was a dick and I'm like legit, man. I'm really sorry for how I treated you. I wish you well. I'm out. You know what I mean? And not like I'm not talking, but that was
no excuses.
None. Yeah. And not asking for anything, but just owning my shit and just here, bro. Genuine to the point, right? Like,
isn't that like step 11? Weren't you supposed to do that back on step 11?
Made amends. I think that's 9 or 10 or something like that. 10, 11, 12 are maintenance. I don't know. Can't remember, but yeah. Made direct amends, except when to do so would harm them or others. Yeah. And, and that's exactly where I take that from. Fuck it. What do I have to lose? I'm only, honestly making it right. And that's not anything positive or negative.
The easiest thing to give away.
It's just
the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. And except for now, I know I'm talking about it publicly, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't go around bragging about it. I don't post about it, but I know this is a public forum and people are going to hear it and see it, but that's not the point. You know what I mean? I'm not taking the picture. Hey, look at me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is genuine shit.
Just telling real stories.
So anywho, yeah, a lot of cringy moments of shit I did growing up and, you know, just impulsive, not considering how it made other people feel, not really respecting other people's rights, you know, just whatever, dude. Whether I was a verbal bully or a physical bully or whatever, right? So, anywho, I've been adulting since like 3rd grade, right? The latchkey kid, the independent kid, the self-reliant kid, the kid that's not offended easily and has a very strong work ethic.
Is that when we had to start cooking for ourselves?
Yeah.
Or else we would starve?
That's about 8 years old, bro.
About that age?
8 or 9 years old.
Like there's nothing to eat. I have to make something.
When you grew up without a microwave and you only had a stove, and you're older than plastic,
and we weren't a snack house, we were an ingredient house.
And Nestle Quick fucking came in a can. You had to use a spoon to open the lid. Yeah, bro.
I just made a vanilla shake thing with some protein powder stuff for my mother-in-law.
Yeah,
and I wanted to make sure I got it right, so I tasted it and I had a flashback from my memory when I was a kid of taking ice cubes and milk and putting vanilla extract in it to make vanilla milkshakes when I was a kid in a blender.
Yeah.
Because we always had milk. For some reason, I guess milk wasn't not poor people food, so we always had a gallon of milk.
Milk and cheese, right?
Ice cubes. Yeah, cheese.
Milk and cheese.
Big blocks of cheese.
That cheese was fucking good. I don't give a shit.
But the milk you got with that cheese was powdered milk.
That's
we always
true.
had powdered
That's
milk.
true. The bag, the big silver bag
you had
or something.
The big bag of powdered milk, and if you had to try to make that for your cereal on Saturday morning,
nasty.
Waking up on Saturday morning for cartoons, and all you had was powdered milk. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, because no ratio would make it into real milk.
No, you just couldn't add more powder to it. It was like non-fat milk always.
Very strong work ethic. But what happens when I do need help? 50 years of experience is working against me, bro. You know what I mean? But the whole point of this is I evaluated my own self and I didn't like my position in life. I took responsibility, and that's I'm not saying that's a big thing, but that is a key step in any movement or any growth any human can take. I'm not patting myself on the glow. No self-gloss, Jim Rome, but that is a key step. You got to call it what the fuck it is.
That's how you build self-esteem.
I took responsibility to do these things.
Yeah, and then make goals, and then accomplish things. And accomplishing things builds self-esteem. At least for men, anyways.
Yeah,
that's what we're supposed to do: is conquer things.
Yeah.
So sometimes conquering yourself is one of those things.
It's the hardest fucking thing to conquer, bro.
That's the thing,
right?
Sometimes it's your ego. Sometimes it's, but at some point you probably end up having to face off with yourself.
And win. Level up into the next room, shut the door behind you.
Or you don't level up.
You don't level up.
Because there's guys our age that are still acting like they're in their 20s and 30s and they haven't leveled up.
Yeah. And when their bodies won't let them work anymore, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Hope they married.
Hope you married into money.
You married.
You weirdo. Get on some levels.
I took the responsibility to make these changes. I didn't know how to be a better father, but I did know that what I had was wrong, right? The healing comes with grace and acceptance from myself and the problems I have created. I can only be responsible for myself, and I only can change my stars. It doesn't mean I don't get help. That means I do get help, and I've asked for help, and I've let people help me, all three. I recognize I needed it. I asked for it, and then I actually let them fucking help me. Whatever that looks like for you, and you in the back. I can only be responsible for myself, right? And I've said this a lot, and that's not the best way to describe it, but the best way I can describe it right now is when I have better control over me, I'll have better control over my environment. And I don't mean control. I just mean like if I'm able to listen, if I'm able to actively listen, if I'm able to navigate, if I can be less impulsive and less reactive and more responsive, if I can have the ability to disagree, if I can have the ability to say no, if I can have the ability to walk away, or the ability to agree or compromise or let somebody else take the lead, I'm in a good fucking place. It's kind of adulting. That means I'm set up for almost any situation. And if I can be mindful of all those things and still navigate a situation, I'm going to get almost whatever I want out of my environment, whatever's happening for me, because I have the ability to say no, walk away, set boundaries.
Makes things a lot easier, huh?
I mean,
you're like adjustable. You don't have to be so rigid about your
scalable,
about your path through life and the way you deal with everyone around you.
Yeah, when somebody,
it's a little more flexible.
Scalable. Somebody taught me when you build shit, build it scalable. Shackling. There you go. This guy. I ask for help. I let people help me when needed.
Yeah.
When needed.
Little asterisk. There's an asterisk on
but
that.
It's still fucking there. I don't care what you guys say. Are you satisfied with the last 50 years? Yes or no? Leave us in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. That's going to do it for us tonight, folks. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and checking us out each and every week, and definitely hanging out to the end of this podcast. I know who you are. I see you guys, and I appreciate all of you. My name's Jason.
And I'm Greg.
Peace out.
Late.
I still like our intro.
It's crazy that we found that song.
And we still use it.
And it starts out like Thriller, and it turns into such an 80s jam. And it's even really good with lyrics.
Yeah.
Do you have the lyrics version on another button?
I don't.
Shit.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Greg.
Peace.